Dools
Has
Scream 5 amps up production. We've got a Tenet review for you, and the Bat gets the best of the Batman. All that and more. But Dools, just roll the intro. Welcome, one and all. Welcome, one and all, to another episode of the More Cops on Duty podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Harry. With me, of course, is the coronavirus to my Robert Pattinson, the coronavirus to my Dwayne The Rock Johnson,
oh
Edward
shit,
Dooley, the coronavirus to my Tom Hanks. Dools, they're taking everyone. How you doing?
Come on, man, don't be insensitive. We still don't know the true extent this damage, of damage this virus can do to someone. Robert Pattinson is a young, healthy man. But it could still ravage his body. We really don't know. Having said that, I'm great, and it's good to be here. How are you?
Man, I'm good. Just, I'm living. Another day, another dollar.
You're living, because you don't have it. Yeah.
Oh, man, it's been gorgeous lately. The weather.
Dude, the weather has just been sublime. Just
Sublime.
Gorgeous.
Just gorgeous, Dools.
Well, you know what I've always noticed about Sydney has, if I can just go on a tangent very quickly, it seems like whenever there's a change in season, it's just Sydney recognizes that change immediately. Like, immediately. There's no, smooth transition from winter to spring or from summer to winter. From autumn to winter. Like, it's always like, oh, it's June 1st? Okay, yeah, it's fucking 6 degrees. Oh, it's September 1st? Yeah, it's pretty fucking hot now. It's like, what? What's going on?
I know.
But I like it. I like it.
Bipolar. It's definitely bipolar.
Yeah.
But Dools, we haven't done this for, we're a bit late this week, so I feel, and we recorded a bit early last week.
I mean, it's your fault, but that's all right.
It is. You know what? I'll take the full brunt. Fair enough. What have you been up to? How you been? This is episode 74.
74. Wow. I feel like we're fast approaching 100 if we were still doing the 2 a week, but I feel
like we're going to get back onto that. I feel like we should.
Yeah, I feel like we should. I mean, there are more movies coming out now, so I feel like we plan on seeing a few in the coming weeks. New Mutants, Bill and Ted. So I feel like we could do a little review round robin, red robin. What do they normally say? Round robin.
I think it's round red robin. Yeah, you got it.
Round red robin. Okay. So we could do one of those. And just kind of knock out a couple reviews in episodes. See where we go. Yeah, it has been pretty good. Just on the watching an interesting little film. Should we just go into what we've played right now?
Do you, boo. Go.
So actually decided to watch this little indie sci-fi flick, an Amazon original that came onto my radar not too long ago on Twitter when Scott Derrickson of Sinister and Doctor Strange fame recommended the film The Vast of Night, and
never heard of this.
This is a very, very low budget little sci-fi film. It's set during the 1950s, follows a local disc jockey and some other girl who's one of the she's one of those operators on at one of those call centers, the old really old school call centers where they're plugging and pulling the switch cables. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That's pretty cool. And basically the premise is it's just another night in this little town. It's always going to be a little town. It's like a little Southern American town, and 90% of the 95% of the town is actually at the local high school basketball game. So that kind of explains why they can get away with this pretty much empty set where there's no one happening. It's a good setup. It's a smart setup to do that and to have an explanation as to why the town's empty. But basically the premise is it follows these two characters, and they are convinced after first hearing some anomalies on the radio waves that there is an extraterrestrial invasion, and mystery ensues. It's quite a good movie. I think you'd like it quite a bit. I think I have a really soft spot for independent, small budget sci-fi ever since I was just absolutely floored by one of our favorite films, Ex Machina. So no, I recommend it to people quite a bit. I think I love these like little indie films. They're it's solid. And other
nice.
than that,
You sold
just,
me. I might watch that tonight then.
I think you like it. Other than that, just get my ass kicked in Dark Souls. That's always fun. I've just got, I'm a masochist as well. There's really no other way to dance around that fact. And I'm up to the very last season. Not that it's finished, but I'm up to the last present season of It's Always Sunny. And so that's season 14. It's amazing because one of the most recent episodes I watched, I think it was episode 3, is actually up there with one of the funniest. And I'm like, how the fuck are they still doing this? Like, it's actually a great premise. They were picked to focus test a movie, and I don't know. You would love that episode in particular. It's a really funny episode.
Yeah.
But it's just like it dials right into like, what's wrong with Hollywood at the moment and stuff. And it's a fucking smart show. So yeah, that's actually not on Amazon. I was like, I love this show so much. The season's out, but it's on Amazon. But I was able to buy it elsewhere, so I just did that. So I was like, I'm going to support these guys. I'm going to support them. And
that's unlike you, Dools. That's very surprising.
Yeah, I mean, it is unlike me. You're not wrong. So yeah, that's been mainly me, Hazza. How about yourself?
Mate, I'm still going through Modern Warfare 2. I'll get there eventually. I want to pick up Tony Hawk Pro Skater. It's getting incredible reviews. Came out yesterday. I might pick that up today. We'll see how we go. Fuck, man. I've been just plowing through Fall Guys, though. I love this game. This game's a phenomenon at the moment. Like, everyone in the world's playing this bloody game.
So this game is now officially, as of like a week or a bit ago, the most downloaded PS Plus game of all time. That's insane.
That's huge.
Like, that is
like considering
bonkers,
that, considering that's like the likes of Rocket League. Like, that's
So you've had games like Rocket League on there. You've had big Call of Duty titles. You've had some of the biggest PlayStation first-party games like Uncharted and Last of Us on there. So yeah, that is fucking wacky.
That's awesome. It's so good. But like, dude, the game's so much fun. Did you see the trailer for the second season?
Yeah, it was a little snippet, but it looks cool. Yeah, it's like medieval.
I love how different it is. How they announce the transitions than in comparison to Fortnite. Like Fortnite, it takes like 3 months of just like little clues and hints and stuff, and then they just come out with the trailers like, oh no, we're doing fucking medieval, like knights and shit. Have fun. That's so good.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, it's important they differentiate themselves from other battle royales, and I mean the gameplay itself is already just so unique. And
yeah, it's like I always describe it as if it's Mario Party but battle royale.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. But Dools, I've also become obsessed with a new show. Become obsessed. I'm a massive Karate Kid fan. I love them. All three of them. I don't like the new Karate Kid. Not a big fan of that movie, but it is what it is. But Dools, I never got around to watching Cobra Kai because it was always on like YouTube Red, and it was never for me. Like in terms of YouTube Red, the platform.
Yeah,
but they finally brought it over to Netflix.
I think that's the problem. I don't think it was for anyone.
Yeah, very true. But they finally brought it over to Netflix. There's 2 seasons out. They're about to release the 3rd season, and goddamn Dools, I'm finished the 1st season. It's so good. It's so good. It follows the story of Johnny Lawrence, the villain of the original Karate Kid, and makes you really sympathize with him and tells the story of the original Karate Kid in a way that you see Johnny in a different light. It shows the life of Johnny and Daniel LaRusso about 30 years later. As after that fight where Johnny lost at the end with the crane kick, his life's just basically gone downhill. His family, like his mum died, his family's like disbanded, and he's literally he's a piece of trash basically. And then you look at Daniel LaRusso, who's like the owner of this really successful luxury car motor dealership that just has the perfect family, the perfect house, literally everything. His life is done for him. And it's literally just comparisons all through. And it's bloody good, the show. It's bloody good. I'm looking forward to getting back into it for season 2 and whenever season 3 drops. I'm not actually too sure. I'll look that up. But
Can I just say something that'll boil your blood? So, well, I mean, you already know that I haven't seen the original Karate Kid, but and by the way, there's 3 of them. Would I have to watch all 3 before I watch Cobra Kai?
No, just the first one.
Just the first one. So it's not the same people in 2 and 3. They're different people.
It's Daniel LaRusso, but it's not Johnny.
Oh, okay, cool.
So this whole story is literally just like a sequel to the first one.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I haven't watched those, but I'll tell you what I have watched has, and to be honest, don't think it's terrible. The Jaden Smith Karate Kid. Tell me how you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm not happy about how you say that.
Yeah. It has Jackie Chan though,
Does have Jackie Chan. We do like Jackie Chan.
We do like it.
Do like Jackie Chan over here, Dools. Speaking of Jackie Chan, Dools, let's say that an average Joe stumbles upon the podcast More Cops on Duty on Spotify and has no
How's that
idea
speaking of Jackie Chan?
what
Is Jackie Chan Joe in this instance?
He's the executive producer. He's standing behind your shoulder right now.
Oh, Jesus.
But Dools, how would you describe it to this average Joe?
Oh my God. I don't even know what the fuck we're doing, man. Look, well, I think it's all in the setup. It's it's just we're talking films, TV games. We're gonna have a nice, deep dive into a very popular film later in the show, in the second half of the show, and just a weekly podcast about everything you care about. And, you found us. So, why not stick around? Why not stick around? I normally tell people that, it's just like, hey, it's actually amazing that you found us. But let's be honest, I'll tell you right now, you can just bail out right here. Because it's not worth your time. It's not. But this episode I actually think is worth their time. So, changing my tune on that one. And, that's the podcast. Do you reckon that was clear enough? Do you reckon they understand what I'm going for?
You did a good job. Yeah, you did a good job, Dools.
Great.
Have you ever been into fantasy football, Dools?
Yeah, no. Can't get into it.
Oh, man. I'm it's in finals at the moment of my league. I mean, for AFL. And I won last night against a guy that hasn't lost the entire year to get into the grand final. I beat him by 8 points. That in the last 4 minutes of the last game of the round last night.
Nice.
It was insane. Oh man, I'm on top of the world right now, Dools. But until then, let's get into the news of the week. Give me a jingle.
It's the news of the week, man.
There it is. Dools, we need to start this off with a little discussion about the man, the legacy left behind of Chadwick Boseman. We got the incredibly sad news this week that Chadwick Boseman has been suffering from colon cancer for years, has hidden it away so that so that people don't. It's something private. He's a very private man, of course, and has unfortunately succumbed to it. He's passed away, leaving behind a gorgeous family and a hell of a legacy. And damn, it makes your heart fill with love when you see how many people are reacting to this, Dools. Don't you reckon?
Yeah, it was obviously devastating news, bro. Just because he, I mean, not only because he's in the limelight right now with Marvel and Black Panther, but because he's so young. I think he's like 40,
so young.
42,
42, I believe. Yeah, 42, yeah.
I mean, goodness me. Yeah, so that in itself, and to leave behind a young family, that's also, that's tragic. But yeah, I think, look, that's his own choice to not disclose, the battles he's fighting in private, and I think that's totally valid. And just to look back now that we have the benefit of hindsight, just to look back and see how hard he was working, the fact that he got in the shape of a superhero while fighting a terminal illness is just mind-boggling. And
agreed.
Yeah, so the dude is nothing short of a fucking legend and a hero, and he's gonna have a really, really rich legacy as a result. So rest in peace, it's a terrible loss.
If anyone hasn't, I completely implore them to read the letter that you sent me, Dools, from Ryan Coogler, the director of Black Panther. I think it's one of the best things I've ever read. Perfectly told, and it really shows you how hard and how much he cared. How hard he worked and how much.
Not even a very close friend like Ryan knew about the illness. I mean, yeah, he was. It definitely was a shock to literally everyone. And I'd also recommend. I mean, if you can handle it, but I think it's very tastefully done. Is like Marvel Studio did a little small tribute video, and it's like a compilation of behind the scenes stuff and of Chadwick. And,
I was worried about that when they released that. I'm like, I don't want this to
very,
be a
very tastefully done
trailer.
Luckily,
but yeah, I agree. It's very tastefully done.
And that's just on their YouTube channel. So it's a tearjerker.
Absolutely. But well, thank you, Chadwick. Thank you for everything you've done. Your as Dools said, your legacy is always going to live on. It just is what it is, Dools. We've got to move on, Dools. We've got to move on. So let's section the legacy of Chadwick Boseman for the rest of this podcast, because that legacy should have nothing to do with us. Absolutely, we're trash compared to him. So Dools, we're getting into the actual news of the week. I want to bring back a segment that we did reoccurring of Trash or Talk. So I'm just going to tell you a headline, and you're going to decide if to throw it in the trash, or we're just going to lay it out on the table and go talk about it, all right?
Gladly has. Just before we do, how much trash are you anticipating?
Oh, there's one that's definitely going in the trash, I believe, but I could be wrong.
Yep. All right, let's go.
Dools, Scream 5 is amping up production for a 2022 release date.
It's circling the bin, but no. Okay, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Do we need a fifth Scream movie?
I reckon so. Yeah, I like it.
Who's asking for it? Is there demand? I haven't seen the demand, but you specifically have been asking for Scream 4.
Every day. Every day. I wake up out of bed and I'm praying.
You literally scream for Scream.
Exactly. I scream for Scream.
So, it's bringing back the original cast from what I understand.
Yep. Which is good, thank God. You can't have a Scream movie without David Arquette. Can't have it without Dewey.
Yeah.
Even everyone's there. Cindy's the main character, of course. But Dewey is the main character. Have you seen the Scream, Dools?
I wonder what's going to happen to him in this one. Is he just going to lose all his limbs and still somehow come back for a sixth film or something? And
yeah, I know. No. He's been shot, stabbed. He's gone through the ringer. But are you a fan of the Scream films, Dools?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen them all. I'm just trying to remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have. Yeah, they're fine. They're good. They're just fun little slasher movies, and nothing. That's why it's just like, oh, okay, Scream's coming back. Cool. I never realized they definitely don't have the same kind of cult following as the Halloween movies, for example, which I think everyone was fucking stoked for that to come back in the way that it did. But
thank God.
I don't know.
I think there's more good Scream movies than there are. You know what I'm saying? There's more good Scream movies than there are more good Halloween movies.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, well, I guess we'll see what the demand for it is like when it comes out.
Yeah, no, I agree with you in terms of the hype for the latest Halloween film, because Halloween fans haven't had a good Halloween film since early 90s. They remade it with Rob Zombie, and Halloween and Halloween 2, directed by Rob Zombie, is some of the worst films ever made. Try and watch Halloween 2. It is an abomination. It is horrible. That movie is trash. But excuse me. Yeah, no, I'm really excited for Scream 5. I think it's gonna be great. I'm super excited. I think it's gonna be fun. I just hope they don't make it all jump scares and shit, but I feel like we're at that age of horror where they realize that that's not the way to go. If they go the way of the Halloween, the latest reboot, I think it could be something super special.
Yeah, definitely.
Dools. We saw another release of gameplay for the new Ratchet and Clank game, Rift Apart. Did you catch this from Gamescom? Did you catch this?
Yeah, I looked at it. Yeah, I think so. It's just more gameplay of I think that original demo we saw, except it was looking much better.
Yeah.
So yeah, because from what I understand, they're gonna have two modes in which you can play. So a performance mode running at 60 frames, and they haven't disclosed resolution. Might just be 1080p or something. Then that's fine. Or maybe 4K, but without ray tracing. And then the other one will be like 4K 30 with ray tracing, and that's when like that's just like truly that's one of the true new features of next gen that this gen cannot really produce at all. Is just like this ultra realistic lighting effects, particle effects, things like that. And I still don't fully understand what ray tracing is, but I mean, whenever I see like a screenshot or a gameplay of a game, and they're like, okay, this is it with ray tracing, this is it without. It's always pretty fucking impressive when they show it with. And so yeah, I think I was always stoked as fuck for this. I think they got to get this game out soon. It looks ready. It looks pretty fucking ready. I think we might get it early next year, but because then it's crazy to think it will have been 5 years since the last one then, and I think that's too long to wait. But I think thank God it's finally coming out, and hopefully they can crank them out a bit more, on a reliably quicker basis after this. So, but yeah, it looks fucking sick. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it looks dope. Everything you said, they put in the ray tracing and it looks sick. There's a good before and after video. It's on YouTube at the moment. Looks great. This game looks like a bunch of fun. I can't wait for it. I really like. It says it's not launch, but it's a launch window. They've announced so like latest we'll get it is probably like February.
I'm guessing here, but I think their definition of launch window might be 6 months. So yeah, 2 quarters, I guess. So yeah,
we'll see. Well, I'm keen. Dools, leading from that, I've got a headline that I just made up. Is where the fuck is the pre-order link for Xbox Series X and PS5?
We're fast approaching mid-September, and we haven't heard a thing. Now,
agreed.
What has happened?
I'm putting my charger in my laptop. Keep talking.
What has happened in between now and the initial PS5 reveal event is that we've seen lots of we've seen a fair few ads, so advertisements, promoting the PS5 and being like, coming this holiday 2020. It's got 3D audio. It's got fucking haptic feedback in the controller. It's like, okay, great, awesome. The SSD, blazing fast load times, say goodbye to load times. Awesome. They've been reliably advertising it and promoting it on their Twitter, all without a date, all without a price. It has to be imminent. At this point, I actually think they could skip September. I think they definitely would announce it in October. They just would not leave it to the first week of November. That'd be fucking nuts. But at this point, it actually wouldn't surprise me if they didn't announce it this month, or it was like at the very end of the month or whatever. So I mean, I saw this little chart the other day. It was like number of months leading before launch that we knew price and date. It was like PS1 5 months, PS2 6, PS3 5, PS4 5. This will be less than 2 months. This will end up being less than 2 months. So maybe even 1 month. Who knows? So it can't just be coronavirus. I'm starting to think that it's because they're worried about their reception to the price, and maybe it is more expensive than we think. But
do you think it's production?
Sorry?
Do you think it's production?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, they did say a while back that, an Xbox said something similar, so I'm inclined to believe them when they both said the same thing, but that the Chinese manufacturer, Foxconn, which they both use for parts, was back at full operating capacity, and they pretty much were back on track timeline-wise. I don't know, maybe they're worried about meeting demand, even, regardless of COVID-19. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's all kinds of factors. Maybe we'll get some insight onto this after launch, and we can finally be like, so what the fuck took you guys so long? Well, what happened? But I will say in regards to the price, I don't know if you saw this, but so Nvidia basically released their next gen, quote unquote, like graphics cards or whatever they are. Are they graphics cards or GPUs or anyway? So, basically, I think that the highest end one is capable of doing 8K 60 frames, which is fucking crazy. It's like, well, I'm of the mind where it's like what's the point? It's like, first of all, 8K monitors, TVs are, costing you an arm and a leg, and there's 8K content isn't even a thing yet. But I think their middle tier one, which is like $699 US, and is basically, a fair bit more powerful than the Series X and PS5. So if that's at that price, doing what it does, I think it's a safe bet that at maximum, the PS5 and Series X, $499 US, and their respective lesser counterparts, digital editions, $399 or maybe $299. So, I think if it's more than $499 US, then that would explain why they've been waiting so long, and they're worried about how people are going to receive it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're probably right.
I don't know, but I mean, it could just be COVID-19. They wanted to have a big splash event, like they would have done one of those PlayStation meetings like they did for PS4, and we would have known the price and date by now. But I don't know. I think they were probably expecting Microsoft to go first by now as well. And probably
it's like a
Xbox
Wild West
feeling
right
the
now.
same. Yeah, they're honestly just waiting for the first to go. It's a little ridiculous. It's just this stupid Mexican standoff, and no one's winning. No one's winning.
No one's winning, Dools. Perfectly said. Back to the list. Trash and pass. Trash or talk, sorry. We've got 3 left. Dools, Fantastic Beasts 3 is starting to film in October. How you feeling?
As you hear that swish? That was me just throwing that right in the bin.
Nice. All right,
right in the trash.
Easy. Throwing it in. No worries. Dools.
I'm just never gonna watch those movies. They do not interest me in the slightest, like at all. I just think they look terrible. They look fucking dreadful, and no one can convince me otherwise. Yeah, let's move on.
All right. Dools, Mulan might cost a fee at the moment. I think it's about $36.99 for Australia. But to watch it for free, you're going to have to wait till December when it's going to be put on Disney Plus for free.
Yeah, I'll happily wait.
All right.
I'll happily wait.
That story, I guess. Easily. No worries. Dools, last on the news list before we get into our review for Tenet. New No Time to Die trailer has dropped. Again, reconfirming its November release date. For one, Dools, have you seen the trailer? What do you think? And 2, do you reckon it's going to commit to this release date? Do you reckon it's going to make it? Because the movie's done. The movie is done. Like, the director has come out and said, like the movie's done, I'm not touching it. And because someone asked him, I think you told me this, someone asked him, is he going to take this extra time to polish it? And he goes, no, because I might make it worse. He goes, I think it's great how it is, and I'm just going to leave it.
Yeah, I was very pleased with that answer. That showed a confidence and possibly a stubbornness. You can read it either way, but skimmed the trailer, didn't like flick through it, looked at the imagery, didn't really pay attention to what people were saying, things like that. So I saw some new things, but I didn't really spoil anything new for myself plot-wise. I'm already all in on this movie. I mean, we obviously both are. I think you already said it. I think, unfortunately, we're going to inevitably have to watch this trailer in the cinemas at some point.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to avoid this shit.
Yeah. So that's whatever. But I think they will. I think we're past the worst of this virus, I think. I'm not an expert, in case you didn't realize, but
You know?
at least here, I think I think there's a good chance of it coming out, and I think even if say it isn't guaranteed a US release, we might have a similar Tenet situation, and they'll just do an international release first, and have a more state by state, precarious approach in the US. So yeah, I'm pretty. I mean, dude, it's this is an unprecedented situation. Anything could happen in the next 2 months, but I'm quietly confident we will be able to see it on November 7.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I think
November
you're
12, actually, I think it is. Sorry. Yep.
Yeah, I think you're right though.
Yeah. No.
I'm very keen. I'm very keen. I thought the trailer looked great. I think we're in for something good here. I think it's got all the right notes, like Daniel Craig, brilliant about Bond. They got Hans Zimmer doing this. Yeah, Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer. It's got an amazing director, Kerry Fukuyama. Like it's got all the right ingredients for something awesome. So I'm just really hoping it pays off, because Spectre didn't, Dools. Spectre did not pay off.
No, it didn't. I'm gonna have to rewatch them all and in the lead up, and who knows, maybe I'll look back a bit more fondly on Spectre, but something tells me I won't.
No, probably not, Dools. But before we go on to the Tenet review, we should also just mention how extraordinary it is how many people are getting coronavirus in this world right now. The Rock has now been tested positive, and now the Batman filming has been put on hold because Robert Pattinson is now tested positive.
Can I go ahead and make the joke that literally everyone else has already made, but they only discovered they got coronavirus was because they could indeed not smell what The Rock was cooking at the time. So that was what triggered it. That was what raised the flag.
Something's up. Something's up.
And the fucking bat got the better of the Batman. Oh my god, I thought of that one as well. I was pretty proud of that one.
Yeah.
Pretty proud. So yeah, thanks a lot, Robert Pattinson. You selfish dog. Apparently it's back in production already, just without RPAT. So they're gonna, I guess, do whatever else they can, build sets, etc. Just do everything else that they can without Batman himself. Maybe do some stunt. Oh no, you can't really do it. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. They'll do as much as they can. So I guess count him out for at least 3-4 weeks max, because I think you often got to wait a week or something, after you've got over it, and before you can be cleared to return to set and stuff. So anyway, that's annoying, but I mean, I doubt this will impact the release date too heavily. I think we haven't been given a firm release date anyway. It's just 2021. So anyway, that's a shame. I believe
the release date they're going for is the 2nd of October, 2021.
Oh shit, that's so far away, man. Oh god, I wish they didn't show us a trailer. I mean, it was a dope trailer, but I mean,
the trailer was like one of the best trailers I've ever seen.
Oh, but god damn it, that's such a long wait. Fuck.
Imagine being the guy that's just like, I reckon we should use Nirvana for this trailer, and everyone's like, oh fuck yeah, let's do it.
So that's where I remember people saying, oh, it's going to be set in the 90s, and I don't know if that's still. That doesn't look to be confirmed, because I saw some breakdowns and they're like, oh, this guy's clearly got a smartphone or something else. So, but that, I mean, that's 90 vibes right there. That's as 90s as it gets, 90s. Nirvana.
Yeah.
So,
very 90s. Yeah, Dools. Well, until then, Dools, let's get into a Tenet review. I reckon we should run this for the first couple of minutes of just non-spoiler, and then get into spoilers. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that's a good idea, yes.
Thanks, appreciate it. So we finally got to see Tenet after months and months of reschedules and, more reschedules. I don't know what else to say there. We finally saw it. We didn't think that it was going to be released this year. We had some very severe doubts that it would be released this year, but then when they went for the international approach, and then it got cleared by China, I got more hopeful. But I was very much in the point that I'm not going to believe that it's coming out until I see the opening credits. And we saw it, Dools. We finally saw it. We've both seen it twice, so we understand it a lot more. But to start, I reckon that we can both agree that this is not a one viewing type of film. You definitely need to see it a few times. But non-spoiler duels, on a crux, what did you think of Tenet?
Yeah, so I think if you're a fan of Nolan in any respect, if you admire or like any of his films, this is a must-watch. I mean, he's one of those rare directors where he is the brand. And, people aren't going to see this because it's a Robert Pattinson movie or a John David Washington movie. They're incredible actors in their own right. But no, people are going to see this because it's a Christopher Nolan film. And this is just another excellent addition to, his line of original films like Interstellar and Inception, that is just, mind-bending and plays with the concept of reality, time, and all that, and does so in a spectacular fashion through, like, groundbreaking film techniques. And, when you go see this film, after you've seen it, reflect on the fact that I think basically everything was shot on camera. It was on camera. There was minimal... I don't think there was a green screen in sight for anything that did. I think they used visual effects after the fact to enhance certain things. But I think basically everything was done on camera. So it's a masterclass in that respect. And... yeah, I mean, we can barely go into the plot without spoiling it, but I mean, in a nutshell, it's a globe-trotting espionage film. It's as if, just imagine Chris Nolan was tasked with making his own iteration of James Bond, and and there's some time-bending elements thrown into the mix there as well. So yeah, I think it's a very special film. And, we'll get into it.
Nice.
Unless you have anything to add there, before we spoil it?
Yeah, I think you said it. I agree with you. I think this is a great film. I don't think it's perfect. I think it has the worst sound and mixing of any Nolan film ever. There's just some conversations that you just don't understand because the sound mixing's off. I've seen that in every single review I've read online as well, which is a shame. But in terms of everything you said, in terms of the characters, loved them. I think this is going to be a massive win for Robert Pattinson fans that are trying to get people to like that he's the new Batman. I think there's going to be a massive win for that. I agree with you, like, in terms of all the visual effects, how it's majority of it is practical. It's just, and it just makes it so much more realistic. I like that. And the way that they shot some of the time-bending elements, I think, is fucking phenomenal. But yeah, I think this is exactly what you said. This is must watch, and you need to see it a few times. But Dools, let's get into spoilers. What do you think of the plot?
Okay, let's try and break this down in some way. So we follow. By the way, I only saw this, I think, when I was like looking up IMDb credits, whatever. Do we ever hear John David Washington's character's name spoken? He's only ever referred to as the protagonist, from what I remember.
Yeah, like, isn't he called in the credits the protagonist?
Yeah, so I could have sworn that at some point Neil, Robert Pattinson's character, did call him a name, but I'm guessing no.
Because they were introducing each other, and he goes, "Hey, I'm Neil," and then he just asked him a question. It was being like super catty and rude.
Okay.
He's like, "I need to get to the top of that building." He's like, "That's impossible."
So, yeah, fuck. Okay. So, yeah, we literally follow the protagonist, John David Washington, and he, begins with this incredible opening set piece in some music hall, and we're not really sure what the fuck's going on. It looks like a terrorist attack of some kind, and yeah, I'm still a little uncertain as to how. Yeah, do you know how that played into the larger narrative, that sequence? Because there was so Robert Pattinson's character was there. We know that.
Robert Pattinson's character was there.
Like
I saw that whole thing as a test. Whole thing I saw as a test for him. by the guys running with Tenet.
So himself.
Yeah, probably. There's a lot of the film that I'm yet to fully understand. I feel like it needs more than the 2 watches that I've done. But to give you a short synopsis, a secret agent embarks on a dangerous time-bending mission to prevent the start of World War III. That's basically the whole crux of the film. That there is an overpower that's about to set off like a nuclear war, and they have to go through time basically to time bending elements in order to stop him. That's as much of the plot that we can really like hone in on without this making this podcast over convoluted. I really liked John David Washington. I thought I was with him. I thought he was awesome. He is exactly what you're saying. He was a Nolan version of Bond. He was smooth, he was crafty, and he was a fucking badass. I really liked Robert Pattinson's character, Neil. I thought he was so sick. He was mad. But the true hero of the story, the true the true protagonist, even though his name was the protagonist, I thought was the use of the time bending elements in the story. Like there's many moments that you go back to after he's starting to reverse time. I thought the use of that of realizations throughout the film that it's like it happened more than once. I thought that was so sick. What do you think about that sort of stuff? The time bending stuff that you use?
Yeah, well, I mean that is the main character of the film, I guess, even more so than the protagonist. I think it was done in a interesting way and in a as grounded fashion as could possibly be done from the perspective of a Nolan film. So I mean, he tries to make everything grounded. I mean, there is technically nothing supernatural about Inception. I mean, it's all in the mind. Interstellar, they did basically everything they accomplished in the film is all theoretically possible. And so in this one, I think this takes the most, the biggest leap in logic when it comes to, groundedness. But I guess they try to tie it back to something scientific by saying, oh no, this is some new technology that reverses, or that, that we call inversion, that, simply, reverses an object or person's flow of time. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. So it's not just you're not hopping in a fucking DeLorean and you're not, manifesting 30 years in the past. Okay, so it's a bit more, it's more grounded, quote unquote. So I really appreciated this new and interesting take on time travel, because and as you said, it just plays into the plot in very interesting ways, and there are still, but I mean, it obviously gets very wacky because at the end, we hear Neil's character say, "Oh, haven't you figured it out by now? This whole operation was your idea," and basically saying that it was actually the protagonist himself that recruited Neil to go help his younger self. And it's like, well, Jesus Christ, okay, like
I love that reveal. I thought that was the best reveal because if you think back on it, sorry, you go, yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, just when we think like, okay, I think I've got a handle on what's happened here, and they've saved the day, and okay, that's great. And then Neil goes and says that, and I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, I love that because he's saying that he's just like, for me, this is the end of a beautiful friendship. He goes, and it's the start of one for me. He goes, we're going to get through a lot of stuff. So it's like they've known each other for years. And then if you go back, there's like the first time they're meeting, and the guy's just like, and I'll take a vodka tonic, and he'll take a Diet Coke. He goes, I prefer soda water. He goes, no, you don't. It's like, because he knows. He's like his best friend. Yeah. I love those like little hints there. I thought it was so sick.
That was the only, that to me was like, oh, well, so, Nolan loved making this film so much and loved this story so much that, he's inserted this line because not just for a, shock and awe kind of twist, but to be like, well, yeah, we can return to this if we want. And, I don't know if he'll ever do a sequel. I mean, it's not like they're Batman movies. It's, to do a sequel, it would be like doing a sequel to Inception. It would have to be, the perfect story and perfect excuse to go back. But so, yeah, and I think, so I guess we'll jump to Kenneth Branagh's character, who is also pivotal in the film. He's the villain. He's the one behind everything. He seems to. This I still am not fully on board with either, or at least I don't. I should say
Andre.
Yeah. At least I still don't fully comprehend what his role was in this, but they say
his
that
motivation was.
Well, no. So his motivation was that he just was, he was dying, and he seemed to want to take the world with him in some sick, twisted fashion. So he was dying of cancer, and for some reason, I don't know, this was like his revenge against the world or something. It's like, okay, Jesus Christ, you fucking. But no, what they still, I don't think, well, at least it went over my head, was because they would often say like, oh, he's communicating with the future. Like, who is his contact in the future? Like, is it himself, or like how far into the future? Because obviously he will die at some point from his illness. So, someone's feeding him this information. Someone's telling him how to harness this technology. Did you? I don't know. Was that a bit clearer for you, or how?
I understood it the second time, where like he was getting shit sent back to him and stuff. Like even when he shows you the first time where he opens up the case when he was like a teenager, and it showed his name, Andre. Can't remember his second name, with all the gold, and then he killed the guy that was with him.
Right, you're right.
I understood that. I wasn't a fan of the motivation of like he's dying, he's taking the world with him. I wasn't on board for that, if I'm being honest. So that was a kind of a break for me, because with Nolan, his villains are so amazing. When there are villains, they're like, in terms of all the Batman movies, like, need to be said that he didn't create them, but he created those versions. Like even Inception, with like the idea of the villain is your subconscious. I think like shit like that is so sick. But then this guy's just like, oh, I just want to destroy the world. So why? He goes, I'm doing
that's why I'm like, oh, surely it's got to be a little deeper than that, and maybe
I'm sure I'm missing something. If I'm missing something, then fair credit.
I can't wait. I can't wait until hopefully this will come to VOD a little quicker, because of the nature of everything that's happening, and we can see some really thoughtful and analytical breakdown videos, because I think I'm going to love doing a deep dive into seeing what smarter people than myself think about this film. But so that I think his motivations are still a little cloudy for me, but that's fine. I think like he had a great performance, convincing Russian accent as well from Kenneth Branagh. He seems to be a fan of the accents. He was the fucking French detective in that terrible movie,
Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah,
Murder on the Orient Express.
The sequel of which I'm definitely not going to watch.
Hercule Poirot.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. So, also just want to shout out to, I think, the three main leads are definitely JDW, Arpat, and then I think Elizabeth Debicki, or Debicki.
Yeah. You got it.
Who I thought was phenomenal, man. She was like, she was a damsel in distress at some points, but found her own throughout the film, just because she realized, slowly began to realize the stakes of everything, and I think, was slowly discovering her importance, and, and her role to play in, world-altering events, and was able to rise to the occasion, which I thought her character's evolution was believable and really awesome and inspiring, in that sense. At its core, she was just a desperate mother. I mean, she was just a mother who loved her son, and and was bearing the costs of this toxic relationship, for his benefit, and to be with him, and so that was a nice little, I think, subplot about the emotional toll being with Andre was taking on her, and that just like and you really fucking, and I love that fucking reveal at the end where, because he just has no idea that, he thinks that the Elizabeth he's talking to in that moment on the ship at the very end is just, the one that belongs in that present moment. But no,
Yeah.
and then she repeats a line to him. I can't remember the line, but it was something he said to her, I think, before he shot her. And he shows her, she shows him the scar that would happen in 10 days' time. He realizes the look on his face, and she just fucking shoots him dead. I was like, that's perfect. That shit's perfect.
Yeah, that was so good.
But that
Took
also,
me. I didn't understand that. After the first watching, I'm like, I don't get it. Like, how is he alive? Because, but then I saw that, like, no, that was the guy from the future. He came back time to live that last moment, basically.
yeah. So that must have been, So that would have been him from the future, because otherwise, how would he know about the scar? Well, what that would mean nothing to him. Yeah. So, and that's how he was able to, he was talking to John David Washington over the radio, and he clearly knew who he was, and so it was all very, but yeah, so meticulously crafted. And Jesus, just talking about it, it's like, fuck, I really do need to watch it again. But did you end up seeing it on the Onyx screen, by the way, or
Not yet. I want to. I saw it again at the Orpheum.
Yeah. So I saw it in, so I saw it in the 70mm, and then the 4K on extreme screen, and that was like, yeah, that was crazy. But no, but I still definitely prefer the 70mm, just because you do really have that much improved aspect ratio. Talk me through how do you feel about Elizabeth Debicki's character and her motivations, and how it played into the larger narrative?
I kind of liked how there was a portion of the film that was literally just gaining her trust and gaining her like favorability about like destroying the drawing that he had over her that for leverage and stuff. I thought that whole section was cool, and that brought in the plane going into the art gallery. That art gallery heist bit is so sick, where like the alarm starts to go off and Robert Pattinson's just like, you got 10 seconds, right? And the guy just sprints out. I love that section. I thought that was so cool. I liked her. She did have the worst line in the film, though. Like, towards the end, where John David Washington's, like, describing everything that's about to happen. He goes, and if this bomb goes off, he said, everyone in the world will die. And she goes, even my son? It's like, no, everyone but your son. Your son's gonna be fine. Everyone but your son's dead. Like,
well, I think that to me just illustrated how, I don't know, she was just still so hyper focused on her own family, and was kind of like
tunnel vision.
She just couldn't. I mean, when someone tells you like, okay, the entire world's at stake, you kind of like, oh yeah, but wait, so does that include the people I know? Like, I mean, I don't know. It kind of.
No, I get it, but it was just a dumb line.
No,
it's like, even my son is like, no. You know what? You're right. Everyone's dead but your son.
Also, to your point, you mentioned it earlier. I was worried it was. I'm glad it wasn't just me. I was worried it was, but I was like, straining to hear some conversations. Like, they were so muffled. Like, I think it was like the combination of the masks
mixing, man.
And some and some sound mixing. I mean, I don't know what he was thinking. I mean, clearly Nolan has dealt with masks and talking in high altitudes before, as we've seen from the opening scene of The Dark Knight Rises, and they went back and re-recorded those lines. I wish I don't know. I think that's something they could maybe do for the home release or something, because I think like that's kind of unacceptable. Like, you can literally not understand a word they're saying.
Yeah,
so
I want to see.
I'd have to rewatch that with subtitles.
Yeah, 100%. But no, I liked her. I thought she was cool. I love the ending of how she left it. He gave her a phone and was just like, "Yo, call this number, say where you are, what time of day, etc." And like, she did that when if you see anything suspicious, and she sees like a car just parked out in front of her school, and then like they're about to go kill her, and then John David Washington's just in the back because he went back in time as soon as he got that message. I thought that was so cool.
Oh yeah. So he's just now able to literally go back, but I mean, it seems like they have to. What I don't. So they're not able to travel in time. They can't pick a destination in time and teleport there instantaneously. They need to reverse their own flow of time, and so it's still going to be, if they want to go back 10 days, well, they have to wait technically 10 days in time, right?
Yeah.
So how?
That's how I understood it. Yeah.
So he went back as far as he needed to in that instance, maybe 24 hours or something, in order to be in that time and place. That's fine. Maybe a bit longer. How the fuck? So from the future, they said a few years. He inverted himself for a few years to tell Neil to, task Neil with this new thing, or Neil inverted himself for a few years, actually, is what it sounds like.
That Neil would have.
I mean, so at that point, it's like, okay, well, maybe if there is a sequel, maybe they explore that a bit more. It's just like to invert yourself for such a long period of time. Because, I mean, we saw what they had to do when they were inverted. Shit was fucked up. I mean, they had to wear these fucking masks all the time. They can't breathe the oxygen in an inverted world. So for years at a time, I mean, you got to imagine maybe far in the future, the Tenet program has like these, I don't know, cryo chambers or stasis chambers that they can go in and, they're counting down the time, like in fucking Futurama or some shit. So, I mean, I don't know. That's just one of my hang-ups, but I mean, I guess that's just part of like up to your imagination kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, did you, because when he said that, oh yeah, it's been a few years, it's like, what the fuck? Like, I thought we were just talking about going back a few hours and shit. Now we're like really opening things up.
Yeah, it blew my mind. It shows like how far they've gone with the technology in the future.
Yeah,
like there could be very much be like, because right now, absolutely exactly what you said, they'd have to wear the masks. Life is shit. Basically, it's hard. But they could be going through like cryo chambers or something, where they could go inverted and basically go to sleep for 3 days and straight away go away, get up awake. Could be something like that.
Yeah,
but
anyway,
I don't think there'll ever be a sequel because it's just not Nolan's style.
Yeah,
but I agree. That's definitely a point that it could make a sequel.
Yeah, so I guess I think it's worth talking about like the action and the set pieces a bit more. Yeah, we touched on it. The heist scene at the airport. It's just some mind-blowing stuff. I saw a little featurette. They actually did buy and blow up a fucking Boeing
because it's cheaper than CGI.
Yeah.
I love that. He's like, we looked at CGI. It was a bit expensive. So we just bought a plane. Yeah. I was like, fuck yeah, Chris.
I mean, that's actually nuts. But I mean, from what I understand, they actually were at a German airport to do this. So, I mean, fuck. I mean, they would have had to shut down this airport if they're blowing up a fucking plane on set. So, yeah, and just that whole sequence, and then to revisit that later and to discover that they were fighting their inverted selves, which I called, was so sick. It was just, I mean, that was such a cool
awesome
callback, and I think I kind of wish we saw more of that, like more like revisiting of locations and like just being like, oh shit, so this explains that. Like that was really only the main sequence, that and the car chase scene, which was also awesome, but where it was like, oh okay, so there's stuff that's and he literally says it. His character literally says the words, oh, this hasn't happened yet. And then, but to have more of those sequences and then to discover the origin of those events, because I thought they were some of the best parts of the film, to then see how that transpired exactly and to see that it was just him behind it all along. And yeah, I mean, do you think that could have been done more? Do you think what do you think was missing or needed more of the film?
I see what you're saying. I think it was done pretty much the perfect amount, because they did it too much, it kind of diluted it, and they would overdose it. I mean, not dilute it. And would really make it a little bit less special every time that it happened. Because I agree with you. Like when you see, like when they're on the highway and you see the cracks in the window, and you're like, "What the fuck?" And they really focus on that, and you see that that's because a car hit him. I thought that was so sick. But yeah, I love those moments, and exactly what I was talking about, how Chris used the time-bending elements to basically tell a story multiple times and in multiple ways. I thought that was so well done, and like people are saying that this is a very safe film. I saw that IGN's review said it was safe, and I don't see how it's safe at all. I think this movie is completely original by using these sort of techniques, and this idea, I don't think anyone's ever thought of something like this before.
This is not like we've said it earlier. This is safe. This is I mean, it's only safe in the sense that Chris Nolan's directing the film. No studio would give a budget of this size for an original idea to some random director. It just would never happen. You could have fucking Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt on the bill. It just would never happen. Even for Chris Nolan, it's not safe. It's a very intricate plot that, even for us who watch a fuckload of movies, and automatically I went in being like, okay, I got to pay attention. Just to being like, okay, I got to go see that 3-4 more times.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, no, that is the opposite of safe. I think that's like, it's really, really, it's a blockbuster that requires your attention. You cannot turn your brain off. It's not Fast and Furious.
Whoa.
Although imagine, I think those are the next two places for Fast and Furious to go: time travel and space.
Oh, fuck yeah, Dools. Yeah. I think. Do you have anything else to say on it?
Yeah, I feel like we've covered everything. I mean, yeah, I think we got some incredible performances. John David Washington, if you're Black Klansman, blew him up, obviously. Ballers helped him get to that. Now this is just going to open up so many more doors.
It's definitely going to propel him. The opening introduction of him, I thought was so sick. He's like, wake up the American, and just looks back at him, and he's just staring at it. I thought that was so sick. I was like,
yeah, it was very cool.
John David.
Yeah. John David, my man.
So sick.
Arpat's great. I think any doubters, non-believers in his casting as Batman, I think, are relatively silent now, and even more so after the trailer. Elizabeth Debicki was great. Kenneth Branagh, great. I think casting, not a problem. I think, yeah, it has little issues. I think the plot is a bit dense. I think, and that's not because I can't fully understand it. I think, at some point you got to admit, like, when everyone is still a little bit lost, then it's like, well, does that mean it's me, or maybe it is just the film and trying to, cram too much in and expect too much of the audience. So I think, like, because, dude, I mean, Interstellar and Inception, I think, are perfect examples of blockbusters that tell an intricate story, don't hold your hand, but at the same time, you pay attention enough, you respect the film enough, you'll get what's going on. You'll know what's going on. So Tenet, I still feel like I could watch it 5 more times and still have a million of questions about the ending and other things. So, yeah, it's not perfect. You mentioned the sound mixing. That's a little disappointing. Hopefully that can be fixed for a home release. I don't know. Maybe he'll see some feedback and they can make some changes. But I think the one thing it does, and that I think it will win a levy of Oscars for, is just how it's now set a new bar for filmmaking and shooting on film. And just like, I think this is just a fucking wake-up call to companies like Marvel and stuff. Like, yeah, obviously you can't do superhero powers without CG, but I think you should try and film as much on camera as you possibly can. Just watching that featurette was so inspiring. I mean, he really aspires to shoot everything on camera, and it's so fucking cool, man. It's so admirable. I mean, he's one of these, filmmakers. These, who wants that raw, to deliver that raw experience and that really real and visceral experience to film goers, and the directors like him are few and far between. So, I think my recommendation is that everyone sees this film.
So, Dools, do you think this lives up to Nolan's legacy?
Yeah, it does. I think he's got incredibly high. We have incredibly high standards for his films, but I think Tenet is a incredibly respectable addition to his filmography. It's not the best film. It does. I think if I had to give you a very quick top 5, it's probably 5 for me, actually. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Where would you place it? Do you think a little lower, a little higher,
or? Higher than Dark Knight Rises. Lower than Batman Begins. It might scrape into number 5. I really do like The Prestige.
Yeah.
And Dunkirk as well.
My thing is Dark Knight, Interstellar, Batman Begins, Inception, Tenet. That's kind of my
I forgot about Inception. Yeah, mine would be Interstellar now, Dools. Interstellar, after our recent rewatches. Interstellar, Dark Knight, Batman Begins, Inception, probably Dunkirk, maybe Prestige, and then Tenet.
Yeah, I think Dunkirk just below Tenet for me, and Prestige.
I want to watch Dunkirk again, man. I want to watch Dunkirk.
Oh, that's an
Can I have it
excellent
on
film.
DVD deals?
I just wish they would put all the Nolan films out again. I mean, I would love to see Interstellar more than anything. I mean, I would fucking
I'd see that. Yeah, I'd see that in a heartbeat.
Re-release
The
of that,
movie's,
yeah. Whoa.
movie's like excellent. But Dools, close us off.
Thanks for your time today, my friend. This has been the More Cops and
No
Judy
worries.
podcast. Each and every week. Did we miss last week, or this one's just late,
Nope.
right?
This one's just late.
Okay. So each and every week we come to you and we give you an hour-long podcast of all things film, TV, and games. And, today we mix things up a little bit. We skipped trivia. Sorry about that. We'll do it next week, I promise. It'll be my turn. I'm going to fuck Harry up again. And so, in saying that, good day. Have a good weekend. Stay healthy. Thanks for coming.